Game you go into it, try and just highlight guys. Miles got a game ball. I thought it was probably pretty worthy, but you're just constantly trying to recognize your guys. We spent time this morning as well, pointing out all of our guys and the jobs they did. Point out Gage having a big punt return, which was huge for our team. Your D-line doesn't get 10 sacks unless the coverage is really good. Obviously, a rookie starting his first game on the road, getting a win is huge. So you acknowledge all that with your team.
Kevin, before
what should have been a simple, happy moment turned into one of the strangest things to happen in the NFL this year. Shedeur Sanders made his first start in the NFL and helped the Cleveland Browns win 24-10. Fans were excited about his good stats, but people were more interested in where his dad sat than in his throws. During the game, Deion coach Prime Sanders stayed in Raiders owner Mark Davis's private luxury box. After the game, Sanders thanked Davis in public. And that one picture set off a storm of questions and rumors overnight. This is the key. That choice of seat doesn't prove anything on its own. It makes an unusual pair. A famous dad, a team owner who clearly needs a quarterback, and a rookie whose value just went up.
Listen, we trust all of our guys. We trust our guys to perform. He's no different. And playing a backup quarterback role, as we've talked about over the years, that's tough to come in there. But we trust him. I know there's things that he's going to want to do better, but that's why we work.
There are rumors that those hours together could have been anything from friendly visits to talks about moving in the future. Reports say that just the optics were enough to set the internet on fire, and analysts quickly linked the moment to talk about the Raiders as possible suitors and Cleveland's reported interest in future quarterback options. This video breaks that moment down. We'll lay out the facts, explain why optics are so important in professional sports, go over the trade logic, and look at how Deion's involvement changes the picture, all while making it clear what's true and what's not. You'll understand why a luxury box can feel like the start of a much bigger story by the end. Before the rumors, theories, and wild guesses took over the conversation, there was one thing that everyone could agree on. When it mattered, Shedeur Sanders came through. He played his first NFL game with a level of confidence and calm that you don't often see in a rookie. He threw for 209 yards, completed 11 of 20 passes, and found the end zone once.
He is just like a sweet guy. Like, I think he's like a little, I don't know. Like, he's just pure. Like, he's a pure, innocent kid, and he loves playing football, and he's super confident in himself.
Yeah.
And I think he believes everything he says.
Let's face it, Shedeur Sanders is the Adam Bull of the NFL. He's cocky and lovable. I'm cocky and I'm lovable. I think I'm the best sports talk host in America.
Yeah, but he doesn't come across as cocky to me.
Yes, he does, and that's okay.
I don't think he does.
I love the cockiness. I want the cockiness. I want more. I don't want my quarterback being a
Wait a
soft
minute,
ass.
you a hypocrite.
What?
Baker did the same thing and y'all hated it.
Well,
No,
that's not true.
no, hold on.
I did not hate it at first.
Listen, I was gonna say that. He had.
I did not hate Baker. No, because at first I was like, okay, well, that's not true because I didn't hate Baker. I like Baker at first.
So when did it turn?
When he started playing crap?
The Cleveland Browns beat the Las Vegas Raiders 24-10 in a convincing win. It wasn't showy, it worked well. It was written, and it was enough for head coach Kevin Stefanski to make him the starter for the next game right away. It's not common for a fifth-round pick to get that kind of trust right away, and it sent a message that Cleveland might have found something real. People weren't talking about Shedeur's throws, his decision-making, or how he handled NFL pressure, even though his first game was very impressive. Deion Sanders made an appearance in a luxury suite high above the field that changed everything. Deion spent the whole game in Mark Davis's private luxury box instead of sitting with Brown's family, players, relatives, or team staff. That's why it was so shocking to see Deion Sanders sitting in Mark Davis's private luxury box. It wasn't the fact that he went to the game. It wasn't even that he was there for his son. He sat there, next to someone, and then he talked about it in public. You need to know how tightly NFL teams control optics to understand why this moment went viral. Owners don't often hang out with families from the other team, especially during a game. It's not against the rules. It sends signals, that's why. Signals to the players, signals to the staff, and signals to the press. When a team owner lets the father of the other team's quarterback use his private suite, it makes people wonder about the owner's loyalty, intent, and motive. Think about what it would be like to be a player for the Raiders. You're getting ready for a big game and trying to focus, but you look up and see your owner watching the game next to the father of the guy you're up against. Even if nothing bad is going on, the way things look just doesn't seem right. It makes it hard to tell the difference between competition and conversation, business and hospitality, and chance and planning. And Deion didn't help things calm down. He poured gasoline on them by thanking Davis in public and pointing out how rare the gesture was. He almost made the strangers stand out for everyone to look at. That one comment changed everything. It told fans, yes, this was unusual, but it didn't say why. That lack of information is what makes people guess. People don't make safe guesses to fill in the blanks when they don't know the answer. They put theories in them. And the theory that spread like wildfire on the internet was easy to understand. That suite was the best place to have a private talk about the future. And the strangest thing is that this wasn't even the most explosive option. Fans move on to the next thing. When the video of Deion sitting next to Mark Davis went viral, fans didn't just react, they went crazy. A huge theory quickly spread through the comments, threads, and sports groups. Was this the first small step toward a big trade for Shedeur Sanders?
All right, so how about this? All right, what if Coach Stefanski said, if you and Dad sit next to each other for the whole game, then Shedeur can start? Would you do it or no?
Honey, you'll never get in.
Oh my gosh. Now we gotta ask Dad.
To be clear, there is no official evidence to back up that claim. But when you look at the facts, it's easy to see why the idea spread so quickly. Begin with timing. Shedeur had just made a strong debut in the NFL, showing that he could handle real stress. His worth suddenly went up a lot. The Raiders, on the other hand, have been looking for a long-term quarterback for years, going through a series of stopgaps that never really worked. People were shocked to see Davis, the man who will decide the future of the Raiders, sharing a private suite with Deion, a father who is known for being smart about his sons' careers. It didn't take long for people's imaginations to go wild. Then there's the place itself. A luxury suite isn't just a nice room with a good view. It's the only place in an NFL stadium where people can talk to each other without being heard. There were no cameras, no media, and no help getting in and out. Just two people who have a lot of power over a young quarterback's career path spending hours alone together. Fans said that if anyone wanted to talk about what might happen in the future, this was the best place to do it. From there, the theory pretty much took care of itself. Some people thought that this might have been a chance for Davis to find out what Deion thought about Shedeur's long-term plans. Some people said it could have been about making connections for more flexibility in the future. Some people even thought that the Raiders were already getting ready for a big move in the offseason. Again, none of this has been proven, and it's all just a guess. But that didn't stop the story from spreading like wildfire. In the NFL, big moves don't just happen out of the blue. They begin with small signs, strange meetings, and unexpected alignments. And for fans watching from the outside, this moment looked like the start of something bigger. It's impossible to deny one thing, even if you ignore the rumors and all the other guesses. The Raiders are the kind of team that would try to do something like this. Not because they're careless, but because they're in a place that makes Shedeur Sanders seem like a perfect fit for them. Begin with what is clear. Star power makes Vegas work. This city can't live on tradition or being subtle. It thrives on show, personality, and excitement. The Raiders are no longer just a football team. They are an entertainment brand that is located in the middle of the Strip. They need people. They want to have fun. Fans need someone they can support, talk about, and care about emotionally. Shedeur fits that mold perfectly with his growing fame, calm demeanor, and huge social media presence. Then there's the football part. For years, the Riders' quarterback situation has been like a revolving door. The team is desperately looking for someone they can build around for a long time because they have tried out a lot of short-term fixes and veteran experiments. Put Shedeur on that list, and the offense suddenly has a new identity, a young quarterback who is sure of himself, and a player who can grow with the team instead of being just another short-term fix. Deion Sanders, who knows as much about branding as he does about football, is sitting right behind him. It's not just a football move to have Deion on your team, it's a marketing engine. Jersey sales would go through the roof, national coverage would go up, and the Raiders would quickly become one of the most talked about teams in the league. But Mark Davis himself may be the most important thing. He isn't like most owners. He is brave. He's not like everyone else. Everyone thought it was impossible for him to move the Raiders from Oakland to Las Vegas. In the past, he's taken risks, made unexpected hires, and chased big moves. He will do about a possible trade for a young quarterback who fits his profile almost too well. People didn't think it was random when they saw Davis sitting next to Deion. It seemed like it was planned, or at least easy. The biggest surprise in this whole story doesn't happen in Las Vegas. It comes from Cleveland. The Browns should be happy on paper. They finally saw a rookie quarterback step onto the field, stay calm, throw smart passes, and break a 29-year curse with a win. Fans were excited, analysts were impressed, and for the first time in a long time, Cleveland had a reason to think that the quarterback carousel might finally stop. But a different story started to come out behind the scenes. Several analysts and insiders in the draft began to point out something that made people raise their eyebrows. Reports say that Cleveland has been looking at quarterbacks in the upcoming draft classes, such as the one in 2026. The Browns haven't officially confirmed any of this, but in the NFL, rumors don't spread unless there's at least some truth to them. And for a young quarterback who is still learning the ropes, even a small amount of doubt can be dangerous. What does it mean that a team is already linked to future QB talks just days after naming a rookie as their starter? At best, it means careful consideration. At the very least, it shows that the front office isn't fully behind Shedeur for the long term. And in Cleveland, a team with a long, painful history of trying out quarterbacks who don't last long. That doubt feels worse than it does anywhere else. And Deion Sanders is aware of it. Deion has always looked out for his sons' careers, making sure they work in places where they are respected, supported, and taken seriously. He will pay attention if he feels even a little bit unstable. If he thinks Cleveland isn't ready to make a deal, you can bet he'll start looking for other options, or at least making sure his son has some. That's why the luxury box moment is so hard. It didn't just look strange, it looked like it was perfectly timed. The value of Shedeur is going up. The Browns' promise doesn't seem clear, and the Raiders really need it. In the NFL, being unsure is risky, and right now, Cleveland is the city that feels it the most. If the idea of a Shedeur-Sanders trade ever became real, it would have a huge effect on his career. Not just for the next season, but for the next 10 years. Young quarterbacks already have one of the hardest learning curves in all of professional sports. The NFL is faster, harder, and less forgiving than anything they've ever seen. And changing teams early on in that journey makes things even harder for most rookies. A new team means a new playbook, new terms, a new offensive system, new receivers who run routes differently, and new coaches who have different ideas about what they want from their players. It's like being given a new language in the middle of a conversation and being told you have to speak it perfectly by Sunday. That's the chance. But there's more to this than meets the eye, a part of the theory that is interesting. The right thing to do isn't always the easiest one. It's the one that gives a player a place to play that is made just for them. That's where Las Vegas might come in. The Raiders are looking for more than just a quarterback. They're looking for a face for the franchise, someone they can trust, grow with, and build everything around. If Shedeur were in that situation, he wouldn't have to worry about rumors that Cleveland was going to draft his replacement. He wouldn't be unsure of where he stands. He would know exactly what the group wants. You're the one. Let's get to work. For a young quarterback, that kind of clarity is worth a lot. On the other hand, staying in Cleveland gives you stability. Same coaches, same locker room, same way of doing things. The danger there is emotional, not structural. If the Browns really are thinking about future QBs, Shedeur would always be fighting ghosts. Every mistake made bigger, every bad quarter looked at, and every draft cycle a reminder that nothing is certain. So the real question is, which is more important, commitment or consistency? One makes you feel better, the other lets you shape your future. And for a rookie whose value is going up, that choice could change everything that happens next. You need to know one thing to fully understand this story. Deion Sanders is more than just a parent. He's a powerful person, a Hall of Famer, a head coach, a cultural icon, a media magnet, and most importantly, a father who has been involved in and planned out his son's career since day one. Deion isn't just watching Shedeur play wherever he is. He's changing, guiding, and shaping the world around him. That's why it wasn't just strange that he was in Mark Davis's suite. It meant something. Deion's whole brand is based on being intentional. Everything he does is planned. There is nothing he says that is not planned. He chooses his words and actions carefully when he is recruiting players, motivating teams, or defending his kids against critics. Fans didn't just hear thanks when he publicly thanked Mark Davis and stressed how rare the invitation was. They heard a message. It could have been a message to the Browns management. If you don't treat my son well, someone else will. It could have been a message to other teams. We have choices. Maybe it was just two important people showing respect to each other in private. Deion knows how this league works, no matter what the real reason is. He knows that optics are money. He knows that how people see things affects how they negotiate privately. He also knows that a well-timed moment can completely change the balance of power. There is also another level. Deion has never been afraid to speak out strongly for his sons. He moved them to better places in college. He has stood up for them against media critics and made it clear that he wants organizations to value and respect them. If he thinks that Cleveland is unstable, whether because of draft rumors, mixed messages, or uncertainty within the team, he won't just sit back and hope it all works out. The luxury box moment, whether it was planned or not, changed the tone of the conversations and front offices. Deion has relationships with people at all levels of the sport, even the owners. In a league where relationships are everything, that one connection could be the thing that changes a whole career. What started out as a father watching his son play in the NFL has turned into one of the most interesting stories of the whole season. Shedeur Sanders played well, led his team to victory, and gave Cleveland a rare glimmer of hope at quarterback. But instead of celebrating the moment, the football world turned its attention to a luxury box high above the field where Deion Sanders and Mark Davis sat shoulder to shoulder. It was a scene that felt almost too dramatic to be a coincidence. It could have just been a kind gesture. It could have just been respect between two important people in the sport. But when you add in timing, unusual access, Cleveland's ongoing uncertainty, and the Raiders' desperate search for a franchise quarterback, the moment becomes harder to ignore. Especially when Deion himself points out how rare it was. Especially since fans and insiders are already talking about how committed the Browns are. This is especially true because the Raiders are known for taking big risks when they see them. The truth is probably somewhere between what makes sense and what you think. A combination of chance, curiosity, and timing that makes the internet grow into something bigger. But that's why this story has become so popular. The NFL isn't just about playing games, it's about relationships, power, and the small moves that happen behind the scenes long before the public sees them. And whether Deion meant to or not, the picture of him sitting next to Mark Davis planted a seed that fans will keep watering for a long time. This moment could mean nothing to Shedeur, or it could be the start of a change that will define his career. It's a test of loyalty and vision for Cleveland. This is a chance for the Raiders that might not come around again. And for Deion, this is just another reminder that he can change the whole story without saying anything controversial. There is one thing we know for sure. This story isn't over. Not even close. The real question now is what will happen.